of anyone to be standing with. We're here with Mark Raats. How you going, mate?
Good. I'm very well, and you?
I'm brilliant now, mate. I'm brilliant now talking to you.
Thank you.
You have some amazing art from so many different franchises, but how did all that come about?
I started in the animation industry in the 70s, and before computer graphics came out, and then got really involved in computer graphics. And because the industry was quite small, you tended to meet other people from other parts of the industry. So it was the Lucasfilm guys were there, and started meeting them at those conventions and things in the very early days, in the early 80s, probably 85, 86 or so. And then I started doing work for Lucasfilm probably about 27 years ago now. And now it's just migrated into doing only posters, so it's great.
Were you a fan of these before actually doing the art?
No, I mean, that's a good question. Yes, I was, because I think that to me, certainly back then, the poster was the thing that used to attract you to the movie. If you were lucky enough to see a trailer somewhere at another movie, that was fine, but you didn't have TV, so much exposure on TV or things like that.
Social media as well.
So the main thing was really the posters, and I really liked it because I liked the fact that somehow you were able to sort of get somebody to get really excited about it and come to see the movie.
Yeah.
And of course, legacy ones like these, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, were always, really very special. And so it's been great to be able to do them.
It would have been a weird consultancy process because so it didn't ruin the film for you and for the audience as well. How do you come about doing the art so that you don't actually spoil anything?
Well, again, it's a good question because every job is different as well because you have different rules that can apply. Like, for example, when I did the teaser poster for Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, although the rest of the cast had been announced that they were part of the movie, I wasn't allowed to show them in the poster. It could only be Indiana Jones and Shia were the only characters I could show in that thing. And even the skull at that point was very, very guarded, so nobody knew what it looked like. So I was able to incorporate a piece of the skull so it looked more like an abstract thing behind them. And only later on when you saw the skull did you realize, oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So you can't really give away too many secrets.
Right.
With Solo it was easier because what we decided to do jointly was when we discussed this with Disney to do this, the idea was really just to not concentrate on the actors because the actors at that point weren't really associated with the movie.
Yeah.
You knew them from other roles that they had done, but because this was done before the movie came out, what I rather concentrated on was the vibe of what it was. It was like a space cowboy thing, but it needed to be Star Wars. And so what I did was incorporate a few things from the trailers that people had seen. So I knew, we knew no one was going to spoil anything, but make it more about the spirit of the movie rather than the movie itself. So that's why I say every job is very different depending on the brief and how it goes. And that's a trick, to try and do it so that you give just enough away or not too much away.
Yeah, I see with the Solo one. So you've got the blaster, you've got the Millennium Falcon, and you've got Chewie. The main three things that you associate with Han Solo. I was in Melbourne and I saw the massive mural. Yeah, and I was also a few weeks ago I was in Hollywood and I saw them everywhere. And I was just like, holy crap, it's cool to see that you were there. But on your website you have some of the best feedback. Some like amazing feedback that you've had from, was it J.J. Abrams and George Lucas?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I mean, George has been very good to me personally for a long time, and I miss him not being involved anymore because it was a lot simpler in those days. With things like this, it was really just a process of yes, he liked it or no, he didn't, and it was easy. Whereas now it's become more complicated because you've got to deal through Disney here, Disney Burbank, and then Lucasfilm, so it's a much more complicated process. But having said that, working with Disney on this was really very easy. They were great to work with. They were very flexible. They liked the fact that I came up with an idea that was different, and they really supported that idea, which is very unusual. Normally you've got to tie into a brand that is very strict and things, but in this case they were incredibly flexible and great fun to work with. They were fantastic.
In terms of George Lucas, he actually bought some of your original artworks. Yeah,
that's right.
What ones were they?
He's bought almost all of the major pieces I've done for Star Wars and Indiana Jones. When they commission you to do a job, you don't automatically sell the original artwork. The original artwork stays yours. Okay. What they pay you to do is to do the art and for them to use whatever you create forever. Although it's their IP, it's my creative. So that's what the actual contract is about, them using my art. And then in a separate transaction, then George, in a lot of cases, has bought the original from me as a separate one. Now, in the case of Solo, Disney bought the original from me before I'd even painted it.
Oh.
And then what they did is they did a deal. I think they sold it to Union Cinemas.
Yeah.
So if you book your tickets, or I don't know if the competition's still running, but if you book the tickets for Solo online, you can have a chance to win the original, and it's like $24,000 of Star Wars geekdom, which is great. Yeah.
I applied for that. I saw that online. I'm just like, I have to get my hands on that thing.
Have they done that?
I'm pretty sure it finished when the actual film came out. But in terms of future projects, do you have anything on the horizon?
Look, because as I said, the approval process is so complicated, you've also got a lot of people with a lot of opinions as to how things should be solved. So we are definitely speaking about a lot of other projects, whether they'll all come out, some close and some further away.
Yeah.
Whether they'll all come about or not will just depend on who's involved in the decision-making process. As I say, it's no longer just George who makes the decision. It's now a lot of other people. So it has become more complicated.
I mean, Boba Fett just got his own spin-off film, so hopefully somewhere down the line that you'll get that one. But aside from that, man, good luck with everything. Thank you so much for...
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.